It is hard not to be so cynical. It is. I'm with Maureen on this. Everything they do seems so manipulative, calculated, PR motivated, money motivated, and the antithesis of what it means to actually be a dutiful working wife.
If you thought the footage of 7 suitcases rolling through LAX was the peak of this mess, think again. And if you believe the private jet being rerouted to a military base in Sicily wrapped everything up, wrong again. Those moments weren't the ending. They were just the setup. What we're dealing with now isn't spectacle. It's evidence. And the person stepping forward to tear the Sussex story apart isn't some random insider or anonymous source. It's their longtime rival, the man who walked off a set rather than accept her version of events. Piers Morgan! For years, Piers has been mocked, dismissed, and dragged. People called him bitter, obsessed, even a bully. But today, that narrative flipped hard. Because now, people are calling him prepared. Just hours after reports surfaced claiming Meghan Markle was stopped by Italian authorities with $12 million in undeclared cash, Piers Morgan went live. And this time, he didn't rant. He didn't speculate. He didn't joke. Instead, he held up a thick dossier, redacted, stamped, and official, and calmly dropped the words now exploding online. I have seen her bank records. She is finished. Let's be clear, this wasn't a regular episode of Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Letter from your husband and your kids. No one's ever seen this before.
So bad.
What is she
The whole thing's
doing?
really emotional. I have full body chills right now.
For them to be able to look
Telling
up
her
and
how
go,
great she is.
oh my
That's
gosh,
their whole
she has
existence.
loved us so much.
It's a very selfish view. By the way.
The studio felt tense. No chatter, no arguing guests, no flashy intro. It was just Piers, a desk, and a heavy stack of documents he said came straight from a forensic audit tied to Prince Harry's own legal team. This is the crossover nobody expected. According to Piers, Harry's lawyers, realizing how deep the betrayal ran, may have let this information leak on purpose. Not to tabloids, not to influencers, but through the one man they knew wouldn't soften the blow. Piers Morgan became the delivery system. He opened the broadcast with silence. A long pause that felt intentional. When he finally looked into the camera, there was no smug smile, no victory lap, just a cold, serious stare. For 5 years, he said, I have told you this was a grift. I told you the tears were acting. I told you the victimhood was a weapon. But even I didn't see this coming. Then he went further. I thought she wanted fame. I thought she wanted attention. I didn't think she was running a $12 million money movement operation through a shell company in the Cayman Islands. And that's when he said it again, louder this time. The numbers don't lie, and I have the numbers right here. Piers opened the dossier and the camera zoomed in. While account numbers were covered to respect privacy laws, the headers were crystal clear. Arch Illumination Limited, Silicon Valley Bank liquidation account, Dubai sovereign transfer records. These documents match details already hinted at in earlier investigations.
He is a makeup entrepreneur, and they both sit there and and they both sit there and gloat about how the fact that they're being so raw that they're not wearing makeup so that they can cry.
According to Piers, the paperwork shows a steady draining of the Sussex joint accounts. Not randomly, but methodically. He pointed to a specific date and tapped the page. Look at this date, he said. This is the exact day the Spotify deal was canceled. And that's where things got wild. The moment legal income stopped, Piers claimed, money started moving out, quietly and fast. This wasn't panic. This was a pivot. But what really turned the heat up was Piers's claim about the woman spotted in the LAX footage. He didn't hedge. He didn't guess. He said he knew her. On air, Piers stated that he had met her years ago at a London media summit. According to him, she wasn't a celebrity or assistant. She was pitching aggressive tax mitigation strategies to wealthy clients. And that detail? That changed everything. Because suddenly the suitcases, the rerouted jet, and the missing millions weren't random chaos anymore. They were part of a plan. I knew she was trouble, Piers said. Then he added something sharper. He called her a shark. And the moment he saw her standing beside Meghan on that tarmac in the leaked footage, it all clicked. The game was over. Meghan didn't hire a manager. She hired a cleaner, someone whose job was to wipe things away quietly. Piers then revealed a detail that hadn't appeared anywhere else. Buried inside the bank records, he said, was a wire transfer with a chilling label: the exit fee. That phrase alone raised eyebrows. According to Piers, it was a $2 million transfer taken from Prince Harry's personal trust fund, money left to him by the Queen Mother. That money moved into an account controlled only by Meghan. The timing made it worse. Just 3 days before the LAX suitcase run.
She didn't put eye makeup on. And she also is pretending like she's crying. And we did a zero in, like we zoomed in just to see. There isn't a tear in sight, Dan. Look at this. I invite the viewers to take a close-up look at this. Where's the tear? There's nothing there. Look, it's an actor's trick. She just keeps wiping and wiping and wiping, so we think she has a heart.
Piers's voice shook when he read it out loud. Not fake anger, real frustration. She didn't just take the Netflix money, he said. She took his inheritance. She took the money his grandmother left him. He paused, then said something that landed hard. That's not business. That's grave robbery. The so-called "I told you so" tour usually sounds petty, but this didn't. This felt like investigative work. Piers broke down the illusion piece by piece. Costumes, he said, letting out a dry, humorless laugh. All of it was costumes. He accused her of believing authorities were clueless, of thinking that because she once played a paralegal on a cable TV show, she knew how to outsmart federal agents. That arrogance, Piers said, is what ended everything. If the cash had been declared, this might have ended with a fine. But by lying on the manifest, she turned a financial issue into a federal crime. She didn't get unlucky. She walked straight into a trap she built herself. Then Piers shifted focus to the reaction online. Normally, the Sussex fan accounts would be everywhere, swarming feeds, launching attacks. This time, nothing. No noise, no defense, silence. Why? Because opinions can be debated. Bank statements can't. Piers held up the paper trail and dared anyone to challenge it. Where are they now? He asked. Where are the people who said I was cruel for asking questions? He asked whether it was cruel to question why a duchess was moving suitcases of cash through a military base in Sicily, or if that was just journalism. Then came the most unexpected moment of the night. Piers turned to Prince Harry, and for once he didn't mock him. He sounded almost sympathetic. He described Harry as a broken man.
Become so toxic. Most big stars now, they want the real royals rocking up at their events. They want them at their rock concerts. They want them at their movie premieres. They want William and Kate. They don't want the ones that everybody hates. So they're losing that cachet very fast. And it seems to me that Hollywood is abandoning them fast.
Manipulated and financially drained. He revealed that sources close to the king told him Charles was watching the broadcast closely. The palace, according to Piers, was paying attention and using public reaction as a measure. If the public can separate Harry from this, Piers said, there may be a path back. He didn't let Harry off the hook entirely. He called him weak. He said he made terrible choices. But he also said Harry was a victim. We need to separate the prince from the predator, he stated. She is the criminal. He is the mark. The segment ended with one last bombshell. Piers claimed there was one more document, something he couldn't show yet on legal advice, but promised to reveal soon. He called it the email. An email sent from Meghan's private secure server to a contact in Dubai 1 week before the flight. The subject line read, "The package is ready." Piers suggested this proves planning that stretches back months. While she was smiling beside Harry at the Invictus Games, she was already coordinating behind the scenes. She's finished, Piers said again, closing the dossier with a heavy thud. Not just as a royal, not just as a public figure, finished as a free woman. And when he said the next time Meghan Markle appears, it won't be in a designer outfit but in a courtroom, he promised one thing. He'll be sitting in the front row, covering every second. Piers Morgan's reaction became the seal of credibility on this entire scandal. He wasn't just commenting on it, he amplified it. He took a niche investigation and pushed it onto the global stage. Within hours, UK tabloids were tearing up their front pages to run with his words. I saw the records quickly turned into what many called the headline of the decade. And here's something people forget. Every deleted post, every rewritten statement, every rushed PR response takes time to unravel. Nothing disappears cleanly. It all leaves traces. If you want to support this channel and keep these threads getting pulled, hit the join button.
For the kids, these email addresses that sort of like names again that you would never guess, that I will give them at some point in their lives when they're older. But before I go to bed almost every night, I email them.
Wow.
I email because it doesn't have to be a heavy lift, and you email them like,
This is how stories keep coming out when others look the other way. Piers devoted the second quarter of his show to what he labeled the shell game. He walked to a digital board, and for the first time, viewers saw a visual breakdown of the alleged money flow. It wasn't a straight line from Arch to one account, it was a web, a dense, layered web. At the center sat a Delaware-registered company called Project Phoenix LLC. According to Piers, this was the funnel. Every time money came in from Netflix, Spotify, or Penguin Random House, it landed in the joint account. Then, within 48 hours, a matching wire transfer went out to Project Phoenix, listed as Consulting Services. Piers raised his voice and pointed at the screen. Harry signed off on these, he said. Then he paused, but looked closer. The signatures were digital, identical, copied. According to Piers, they weren't freshly signed approvals. They were reused files. He claimed the signature had been stored and reapplied automatically. And that meant transfers were allegedly being approved while Harry was asleep, traveling, or completely unaware. Millions moved with a click. Not a conversation, not a confirmation, just a PDF. This detail changed everything. If a digital signature was used without specific approval for each transaction, Piers explained, that could shift the narrative from cooperation to identity misuse. Allegedly, it turns a shared decision into potential fraud. The most emotional moment came when Piers returned to the transaction labeled exit fee. He zoomed in on the source of the funds, the Queen Mother's Trust, Harry listed as the beneficiary.
I knew her a bit before she met Harry. She was nothing like that. She didn't speak like that. Her mannerisms weren't like that. This is all fake, right? She was a real hard-nosed LA girl, right? Who was on the fast track. Yeah. Now she's like this, oh, I'm soft, I'm mummy, I'm this. It's all.
This wasn't just money. It was the last remaining financial link to his family history, something deeply personal. The amount was exactly $2 million. The destination was a Dubai-based account under the name JU Sovereign Holdings. Piers stared into the camera, visibly shaken. She took the Queen Mother's money, he said quietly. Money meant to protect him. The studio went silent. No clapping, no murmurs. The gravity of that claim hung heavy. Even supporters struggled to justify it. There are lines people expect not to be crossed. Then, live on air, everything escalated. About 20 minutes into the segment, Piers stopped mid-sentence. He touched his earpiece. His tone changed. I'm being told, he said, looking straight into the camera, that we've just received a legal letter. Moments later, a producer walked onto the set and handed him a document, a cease and desist order, marked urgent, sent from a Los Angeles law firm representing the Duchess. And just like that, the broadcast crossed into a whole new phase. This was unscripted television at its rawest. Piers took the letter, slipped on his glasses, and read it in silence. For a brief moment, a smirk crossed his face. They want me to stop, he said plainly. He explained that the letter claimed the bank records were stolen property. The lawyers argued that airing them violated international privacy laws. They threatened lawsuits against the network, against him personally, and against anyone who shared the clip. Then Piers looked up, tore the paper clean in half, and tossed it over his shoulder. Sue me, he said. You don't get to claim privacy while allegedly committing a felony.
here's your report card from today, or oh my gosh, was it the funniest thing this morning, or here's a picture of you two having breakfast, or here's you playing with the dog. The things that you're not going to frame, the things that you're not going to put pen to paper in a journal, but they will end up at one point in their life, maybe when they're 16 or when they're 18, that I say, here's an email that I've been keeping.
He added that once records become part of a criminal investigation, they are no longer private. According to him, the public has a right to know where donated charity money actually went. That moment mattered. Ripping up the letter symbolized the collapse of what many saw as the Sussex legal fear factor. For years, media outlets backed off the second lawyers appeared. Piers didn't. He made it clear he understood the risk. A defamation lawsuit would open discovery, and discovery would force everything into the open. That, he implied, was the real threat. After calling what he described as a bluff, Piers shifted to the email he had teased earlier. He admitted he couldn't show the screen capture because of network legal rules, but he said he was permitted to read verified excerpts. According to him, 2 independent sources had confirmed its authenticity. The email, allegedly sent to the architect, listed assets marked for liquidation, not just cash. Piers paused and told viewers to listen carefully. Item 1, the Diana watch. Item 2, the Cartier bracelet. Item 3, the engagement ring diamonds. He stopped again. The weight of it sank in. According to Piers, this wasn't just about money. The email described the items like inventory, estimated values, notes saying fast sale required. She wasn't just planning to move funds, he claimed. She was allegedly preparing to sell jewelry tied to Princess Diana. Jewelry Harry had given her as symbols of love and legacy. Piers said the listed value totaled around $450,000, marked for quick sale.
Father, Prince Charles, is battling cancer. He intimates publicly, I don't know how long, he actually says it, I don't know how long my father has left. Disgusting. He and Meghan are repeating history. They are doing to King Charles what they did to Prince Philip on his deathbed with that Oprah interview. They are doing what they did to the Queen in the run-up to her death, and then Harry's missives to the media. Oh, William and Aunt, they left without me. I wasn't on the plane. I got the call too late.
Yeah.
Me. I. They're doing it to the king, and I promise you, Piers, and I'm sure you see this coming. Once there is a King William, that door is well and truly shut, and the titles.
He described the idea as deeply disturbing. For someone who often spoke about Diana's memory, treating those heirlooms as short-term assets crossed a line. She didn't value the history, Piers said. She valued the carat weight. He shook his head and addressed Harry directly, saying, if you're watching this, look at the list. According to Piers, this showed mindset, not panic. Planning, not chaos. Behind the scenes, reactions were already spreading. Royal biographer Tom Bower, scheduled to appear later, was reportedly watching from the green room. Staff said he nodded grimly as the list was read aloud. He was overheard saying, I wrote the book on her greed, but even I underestimated the scale. Among commentators waiting off camera, the mood was the same. Shock, no pushback, no defense strategy. The idea of selling Diana's jewelry, many said, was irreversible. There's no public recovery from that. Piers ended the segment with a direct message aimed at authorities in Italy, where the plane had reportedly landed. Do not let her leave, he said. Do not let a title block accountability. He urged officials to inspect the luggage and then added one final point. Check the carry-on, he said, because if that Cartier watch is in her bag, that isn't fashion. That's potentially stolen royal property. And with that, the studio fell silent again. The Shell Game segment accomplished what years of tabloid headlines never could. It put receipts on the table. It dragged the conversation out of opinion and into numbers. No more, he said, she said. Just debits and credits. And in cases like this, the money trail is the only trail that matters. And when the show returned from the commercial break, the energy had changed. The anger was still there, but now it felt different. Less shock, more certainty. What came next felt like vindication. Piers looked straight into the camera and aimed his words at Hollywood's elite. Calm at first, but sharp. He reminded them that for years they had praised her, protected her, and elevated her. They handed her awards, they applauded speeches. They crowned her a symbol of moral authority. You gave her the Ripple of Hope Award, he said. You put her on the cover of Time magazine. You called her an icon. Then he asked the question that landed hard. So where are you tonight? He didn't keep it vague. He named names. He called out powerful agents at WME, accusing them of signing her while knowing the financial picture didn't add up. He pointed at celebrity friends who loaned private jets, saying they may have unknowingly helped move money and assets. You weren't supporting a humanitarian, Piers said. You were cleaning the image of a fraud. He argued that by shutting down critics and shielding her from scrutiny, they became part of the problem. According to Piers, that protection created the environment that allowed millions to disappear. He demanded accountability, public apologies, awards returned, titles stripped. If you have integrity, he said, admit you were fooled. And if you don't, he added, people will assume you knew. This was the Piers Morgan effect in real time. He was making it socially dangerous to stay silent. Being associated with the Sussex brand suddenly looked risky. But the real shock of the segment had nothing to do with Hollywood. It happened during the commercial break. Piers leaned forward, lowered his voice, and shared something that sent a chill through the studio. During the break, he said, My private line rang. He explained that he couldn't share the number or the name, but he could share this. The call came from a senior member of the British royal family. The studio reacted instantly. Audible gasps. Online feeds exploded. Speculation ran wild. Piers continued. They didn't call for an interview. They didn't call to spin. They called to say just 2 words. Thank you. He explained that for years, members of the family felt silenced by protocol, unable to respond, unable to defend themselves, forced to absorb accusations without answering back. That night, they felt the pressure lift. They're watching, Piers said. The king is watching. According to him, they finally felt that the truth was breaking through. That single confirmation changed the meaning of everything. This wasn't just a television host venting. It suggested a quiet back channel to the palace, a signal that Piers was saying publicly what they could not. That thank you mattered. You don't thank the man dismantling your daughter-in-law's image unless you're done protecting it. From there, Piers pivoted again, this time towards something even bigger, political protection. He raised the question that made people uneasy. How does someone move $12 million through American financial institutions without triggering alarms? If I move $10,000, Piers said, I get audited. She moved millions. He floated a theory, not a conclusion, a question. Was there political cover? Was someone looking the other way? And with that, the story stopped being just about celebrity scandal. It became something far more serious. Piers reminded viewers of long-running rumors that had quietly circulated for years. Claims that Meghan was being positioned for a future Senate run. Claims that she had been networking with major Democratic donors and political power brokers. Then he asked the question many people were suddenly asking out loud. Was she protected? Piers said. Was there a quiet, do-not-touch label on the Sussex file because she was viewed as politically useful? If that were true, he argued, this story would go far beyond celebrity drama. It would point to corruption at the highest levels of government. Piers called openly for congressional hearings. He demanded the release of suspicious activity reports that banks are legally required to file. I want to see the SARS, Piers said. I want to know which banker flagged this and who buried it. He added that you don't move 7 suitcases of cash through an airport without someone powerful choosing not to intervene. The segment then took a darker turn with the introduction of a forensic psychologist, Dr. Orwell, who joined via satellite. Piers asked the blunt question many were thinking. Is she unstable, or is this calculated? The doctor didn't hesitate. She isn't unstable, he said. She's a high-functioning sociopath. According to him, the planning, the use of intermediaries, the public image, and the behind-the-scenes moves all pointed to cold, deliberate calculation. She doesn't feel guilt, the doctor explained. She feels fear of getting caught. He added that if she was sitting in detention, she wouldn't be sorry about the money. She'd only be sorry the plan failed. Piers nodded in agreement. She's not a victim, he said. She's a predator who ran out of runway. As the segment slowed, Piers held up a final image, a recent photo of Prince Harry. Pale, isolated, visibly worn down. Look at him, Piers said, his tone shifting. He described a man drained emotionally, financially, and socially. According to Piers, Harry lost more than money. He lost family ties, public goodwill, and stability. He contrasted Harry's military service with where he now stood. He survived Afghanistan, Piers said, but he couldn't survive this. Then he spoke directly to Harry. If you're watching, he said, pick up the phone. Not to ask for help, not to ask for money, but to apologize. He said the only people who remain when everything collapses are the ones you pushed away. The segment closed with breaking developments. Reports that the U.S. ambassador to Italy had arrived at the military base in Sicily. Diplomatic pressure was building. Piers warned viewers to pay close attention. Watch the State Department, he said. If this turns into a quiet return under the excuse of exhaustion, people should ask why. He argued that accountability mattered more than convenience. She belongs in due process, not privilege, he said. Then came a surprise guest, a former U.S. federal prosecutor specializing in international organized crime and asset forfeiture. Not a television personality, a career prosecutor. Piers asked the question everyone wanted answered. Based on what we've discussed, he said, the alleged wire fraud, customs violations, laundering claims, and trust fund issues, what does this realistically look like? The prosecutor didn't hesitate. He looked straight into the camera. If the evidence shown tonight is authentic, he said, this is not minor. He explained that the structure described could fit a RICO framework, multiple entities, coordinated transfers, foreign banks, repeated transactions. He said when wire fraud, structuring, and customs violations are stacked, the penalties escalate fast. Under federal sentencing guidelines, the prosecutor explained, the exposure could be severe. Decades, not months. 20 to 30 years was discussed, with no parole in the federal system. If that scenario played out, release would come late in life. The studio went quiet. Even Piers leaned forward, momentarily playing devil's advocate. But she's a duchess, he said. She's the mother of a prince's children. Surely there's a deal. House arrest, something discreet. The prosecutor shook his head. Not this time. He pointed to context. International embarrassment. A NATO military base. Diplomatic fallout. According to him, when governments are embarrassed publicly, they don't soften. They escalate. And he said this wouldn't look like a luxury exile. No private estate, no wellness retreat. If the charge is held, the path would be a federal correctional facility. Structured routines, uniforms, low-pay work assignments, status erased. The contrast was brutal. Titles gone. Fantasy gone. Replaced by a small cell and strict rules. That was the reality check. And then came the moment Piers had been building toward all night. He cleared his desk, took off his glasses, leaned toward the camera, and spoke as if addressing someone directly. Meghan, he said, his voice low, you wanted global fame. You wanted to eclipse everyone. He listed it slowly. The Queen, Kate, Diana. Then he paused. Well, tonight, you got the headlines. He said she was now known worldwide, not for advocacy, not for speeches or shows, but because of allegations that painted a very different picture. He accused her of trying to outplay institutions far older and stronger than herself. You thought you were playing chess, Piers said. You thought you were smarter than a 1,000-year system. He said she believed she could take the money, attack the family, and disappear. But, he added, reality doesn't work that way. The truth always surfaces, he said. You can't build anything solid on lies. Eventually the card declines. He reminded viewers that she had called him a liar, that she tried to silence him. You wanted me gone, he said, but here I am. Then he drew a sharp contrast. According to Piers, she wanted to be seen as a victim. Now she faced being treated as a defendant. He referenced legal rights carefully and deliberately. You wanted to speak for everyone, he said. Now you have the right to remain silent. He paused. I suggest you use it. Then came the proposition. Piers reached beneath the desk and pulled out an orange jumpsuit. On the back, stenciled in black, was a single word, archetypes. He held it up to the camera. A parting gift, he said. You love branding. You love your name on things. Consider this your new uniform. He added one final line. Wear it proudly. It's the only thing you didn't borrow. It was theatrical, deliberate, pure Piers Morgan, but beneath the performance there was something final about it. He wasn't escalating anymore. He was closing the chapter. He said it plainly. We're done. Then his tone changed again. He turned to Harry. If you're watching, Piers said, softer now, don't let this take you down too. He said choices still remained. Truth, accountability, distance. She chose money, he said. You can still choose dignity. He urged Harry to speak honestly, to step away from the collapse rather than be buried under it. Come home, Piers said, but only if you leave the chaos at the gate. With that, he signed off. A simple goodnight, one final goodbye. The screen went dark. The fallout was immediate. Online trends exploded. Legal analysts replayed the prosecutor's words across networks. The image of the orange jumpsuit spread everywhere. Piers Morgan didn't just react to the moment, he shaped it. For many viewers, it felt like long-standing questions were finally being acknowledged. A narrative once protected by prestige was now being examined line by line. And that's where this chapter ends. What began years ago as a fairy tale wedding now stood, in this telling, as a cautionary tale. Allegations replaced admiration. Investigations replaced applause. The story moved from red carpets to courtrooms. And whatever comes next, the illusion is gone. If you watch this and have thoughts, drop them in the comments below. If this breakdown made you see things differently, hit subscribe and stay locked in for more deep dives like this. Don't forget to like the video and share it with someone who needs to see it.